7 years ago, we've had the Phoenix. Then we've had the Phoenix Reborn. And 4 years after that, we have the Phoenix of Freedom. Yeah, I can see why all the years of Gundam build have brought us to this point. What is going on, guys? MJ2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the P-Bandai high-grade Gundam Fenice Liberta from Gundam Build Fighter Stream's Counterattack. Now, at the core of this kit, it's basically the same as the Fenice Liberta because the only differences that it bears are the V-fin, the backpack, and the back skirt that contains the waist-mounted wings. So if you've built the original Fenice Liberta, this is gonna be a very, very familiar build. Now, it was kind of hard to procure one of these things because this is a P-Bandai kit, first of all. Second of all, it was from 3 years ago. And third of all, I've never heard of a reissue since its first release. But somehow, the store has one of these in the back of the storage, so I bought it because I really cannot pass up the uniqueness of the Fenice Liberta. Now, structural integrity wise, the old Fenice Liberta that I built when it came out was completely and utterly horrible because the claws don't stay open, the wings disintegrate, and it's just broken beyond mechanical recognition. But this thing right here has been massively improved, maybe a little bit too much in the shoulders because it is extremely tight. And considering the luck that I've had with my Gundam Age kits and Gundam Wing kits where the arm joint just broke, I am a little bit paranoid of moving the shoulder joint, just trying to transform this thing. But it does hold on pretty well. The claws over here, I transformed this thing many times, and they still managed to keep the stiffness that it has from the fresh kit. So I'm glad that they've done that. And the wings over here, yeah, given that they're using new mechanics, they stay on very well. They don't droop, they don't do anything, they just stay in the position that you want it to stay. And yes, as you can evidently see from the beginning of the review, this thing can stand extremely well because it technically does have a bipod on its butt. So there is no issue with it doing ground poses whatsoever. Now, sticker-wise, this thing does come with all the stickers that came in the Fenice Liberta. So basically, the circles on the shoulders, you do have the green in the chest, you do have the vent on top of the skirts, and you do have the front camera of the Wing Gundam. But the one extra sticker that came with the Liberta is the red sticker on the V-fin. Now, I can understand to some extent, but they could have gone for a red piece, I think. But they've done it, and it looks rather well in the head, so I'm not going to complain about it too much. So overall, this thing does have pretty good structural integrity, as you guys can see, unless you broke a peg. It does have good looks, albeit not too different from the Renashta, and does have decent color separation. So overall, this thing is pretty good. Articulation wise, besides the new parts, this thing is basically the same as the Renashta, but seeing as that is an old review, I'm going to go through it once again. So at the head, you do have a double ball jointed polycap, so you can do a chicken neck and basic rotation and tilting. Over here in the arms, you do have the swing out polycap joint, but it is rather tight, but not as tight as the Lotus Ray double rebake, so you can use it without plucking the arm out. You do have the basic rotation over here. The shoulder armor can move up and down, but as I did say, it's a little bit tight on this thing, while it is very loose on the other. So yeah, I'm a little bit paranoid, but you can get some movement. The beam mantle emitters over here can move, and the arms can move out perpendicular to the body. I'm going to do one on this arm, so rotation above the elbow, bend at the elbow at 2 joints so you can get that perfect 180. The claws over here can retract, and the wrists are on ball joints. The stomach and waist are on double ball joints, so you can do some really good crunches and of course rotate all the way, but be careful of collisions because of the gigantic waist mounted wings. The front skirts can move, you can separate them, side skirts are on those universal polycaps. The back skirt core unit cannot move, but the wings can hinge at the center portion and the wing portion. The wings can also go up and down, and the red pieces over here that is reused from the Renashta can flip in and out. It does tend to get a little bit loose after you've done it many times, especially the transformation, but it is not as loose as to be extremely floppy if you actually shake this thing, so that is pretty good. Of course, these yellow pieces can move to reveal the beam tire emitters that are going to be used for the transformation later on. But overall, yeah, these things kind of move in and out backwards. So yeah, there's no getting out of the way of the legs. The legs can do the funky dance, which is pretty nice. And of course, the side skirts do fall off. It is polycaps, but if you don't get in their way, nothing will actually happen. The legs can go forwards, go backwards, go outwards. Not all the way, unfortunately, because of the instructions of the armor, but it is what it is. Rotation at the thigh. A double jointed knee that is pretty okay, to be honest with you guys. And over here, the ankles can move on the top joint. It is a polycap. There's a ball joint in the foot and a joint in the ankle armor. And of course, the feet can rotate and the toes can point down. Onto the backpack, the panel over here has a hinge that can raise up, and the beam tire emitter can move front and back. No rotation or whatever, so you cannot really deal with a bound dock with the beam tire, realistically. So all in all, the articulation of the Fenice Liberta is pretty good, and especially the wings, providing some extra balance so you do not have to worry about this thing toppling over at all. Now weapons are where I think they slacked a little bit. So first of all, we do have the Buster Rifle Custom, which is exactly the same as the Fenice Rinasta. So obviously the two weapons can be interchanged. Now you do have the moving support handle as usual, and you do have the retractable handle, and the Buster Rifle Custom can be separated into the 3 core components. You do have obviously the Buster Rifle, which you can actually hold, but as usual the gauntlet gets in the way of the handle. No secret for the scope, however. And onto the rest of the remaining components, you do have the beam bayonet and the beam pistol over here. They do store on very tightly, which is what I do appreciate. However, this kit comes with no beams for the beam bayonet, so either you have to live without it or use the one from the Fenice Rinasta if you have that kit. And it is plugged onto the rifle just like so, very securely. Last but not least, we do have the physical shield over here with the gray piece up top and the visor as stickers. It does have the moving fin over here and the moving guard, which is completely new by the way, but the majority of the shield is reused from the Fenice Rinasta. So basically what you want to do is to allow the Fenice Liberta to hold it in the handle if you get the arm in the correct angle, which I'm paranoid about. And surprisingly, unlike my Wing Gundam, which was a reissued copy, and the original Fenice Rinasta that I have, this thing holds the shield completely fine, despite the obstructions of the shoulder design. So that's going to be all the accessories for the Fenice Liberta. Unfortunately though, no beams for the beam bayonet means no beam mantle, so I'm reusing the one that is from my original Fenice, and obviously it does work for the people who want to know about this. But it didn't use it in the anime whatsoever. So for comparisons, of course I will have to bring in the original Fenice Rinasta, which is mechanically unrecognizable because of its fragility. But as you can see, they don't really have too many differences between each other. And of course I will have to bring in the main cast of GM's Counterattack, but since there are so many, I'm not really going to introduce them one by one. So all I have left to collect is the amazing Zagok, which I did see in the store quite a few years ago, but I'm just not really interested in mono-eyes. So unfortunately, I will not pick up that kit, and I don't think I'll see it ever again, because it is in the same circumstance as the Gundam XU Maul and the Fenice Liberta. Now the moment you've all been waiting for, the transformation. So first of all, what you would like to do is to remove the manipulators, but because I like to keep everything in one place, I just leave the manipulators on there. It doesn't really disrupt the look that badly. Next, that you want to fold up the arms completely and then retract the claws. Then, after you've dropped the shoulder armor down, rotate the waist 180 degrees, but be careful of everything getting in the way during the process. What you want to do next is to bend the legs forwards, just like the Wing Gundam, and then secure the side skirts onto the holes on the side leg armor before dropping the toes. Now I know you're supposed to use this adapter for the transformation, but I see no use for it other than to provide an action base hole, which is unnecessary for the Fenice Liberta's case. What you want to do next is to fold the wings to the front completely, keeping them straight while folding the red pieces outwards as it did by itself. Finally, readjust the arms, open up the hatch over here to bring out the beam tire emitter, and then bring in this adapter piece. This allows you to connect the shield to the back skirt, but I usually just leave it in the mobile suit mode because first of all, you'll rarely be seeing it from the front, and second of all, it doesn't really disturb the look too badly. And then the shield, you just basically cuff the head before plugging it into the adapter. It's going to be a little bit tough because it does require some precision, and then you just open up the mouth over here to keep the head from moving. Do as you see fit with the fin over here. And then finally, do the same as you would the Fenice Liberta for the Buster Rifle, and just plug it into the arms. Now, they do plug in very securely on this kit, so that is one thing I would appreciate this thing for. They don't fall off at all. Now, the beam tires. First of all, bring in this donut over here, split this thing in half, and then plug it onto the front wheel over here. And then for the back wheels, open up these yellow pieces to the front completely to reveal the beam tire emitters. And now bring in these tires over here, the larger ones with the stickers on one side, and just plug them onto the emitter. And after you've done that for the other, you will have the Meteor Hopper mode. Here it is on the turntable, and I'm not really too sure what to feel about this now that I've actually seen it. But it is definitely a unique philosophy and design to be sure. Now, somebody could have done better with aligning all the parts than me, I know, but this is the basic gist of it. Now, people have been asking me whether or not the tires actually work, and I can confidently tell you that this thing is front wheel drive. What do I mean by this? Only the front tire actually works, so I don't know how it delivers all the power to the back, not sure. Maybe car designers can help me out with that, but yeah, only the front tire can work on specific surfaces. So for example, if you have a glossy table, it's not going to roll. But if you have a rough surface, kind of like bed sheets, or for example this turntable right here, this thing can actually roll perfectly fine. But the rear wheels over here don't roll at all. The peg is just big enough to fit into the tires, so if you actually try to shave the pegs down, the tires will actually cause you chaos because they will not stay on if you shave them down. So yeah, the tires do actually work. And second thing is, you cannot use this as a replacement for the actual Meteor Hopper because of the Wing Gundam components over here blocking the way of any footing whatsoever. Even the core Gundam is a really rough fit to use this thing as a motorcycle, so this is not any replacement for motorcycle kits, but I can assure you that with this unique aesthetic, it will actually stand out among your shelf if you display it in this mode right here. Nice spoiler and exhaust layout, I must add. And since I do not own the Meteor Hopper, and that my Fenice Liberta cannot transform anymore due to the rough repairs I gave it, I am not able to bring you guys any comparisons for this mode right here. I apologize. For the leftover parts, first of all, we have the E-plate over here with the wing connectors, wing joints, and the original Wing Gundam backpack and the beam saber. So you do get these parts if you want to use them. And following up, we have the K-plate, the khaki parts for the wings of the Liberta, the old shield guard, and the old V-fin. Moving on, we have the L plate over here with the original back skirt, the original backpack connector, the original green parts of the wings, and that's basically it. Moving on, we have M and N. So these are basically the wing parts on the N plate, and we do have the original head crest of the Liberta in the M plate. Last but not least, we do have the O plate. I have an adapter that I didn't cut out. I don't know what it's used for, honestly. And we do have the original backing of the Liberta backpack. So this kit does come with everything you need to revert the Liberta back to the Liberta if you so fancy. Or if you want to make a combination of the two, there you have it. You have the parts to do so. So that's gonna wrap it up for the Fenice Liberta review. Now, I'm very satisfied with this kit because on top of the good looks, good structural integrity, and smooth transformation, apart from the occasional collisions, This thing is very fun to mess around with due to the unique aesthetic and the fact that it does come with compatible parts, so you can swap out the rear beam tire for something else if you so fancy. But the one downside of this kit is that it doesn't come with any beams for the original equipment. So I'm going to give this thing a 7 out of 10, but if only it does come with beams, I'm going to give it a rough 8 out of 10. But I don't recommend you guys to get this kit if the price is not right, because as far as I heard, this thing costs as much as an expensive master grade if you buy it from secondhand sources. So yeah, if you do get a relatively reasonable price, like I did, 380 Hong Kong dollars, it's okay for a premium. But if the price is just ludicrous, don't get this kit. I don't care how fun this thing is, I will not get it if the price is ludicrous. So yeah, do it at your own peril if it is ludicrous. So that's gonna wrap it up for me. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and also subscribe for more gunpla reviews, gunpla news, and all that kind of stuff. Subscribe to the feature channel to my channel page if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.